Good morning, Sri Lanka. Welcome back to the show. It's been a show full of laughs and a lot of comedy here because British humour is something that never gets old. And we have with us on the show today 3 impersonators from the popular TV sitcom Fawlty Towers that was running on the BBC network in 1979. But you've been keeping the characters alive, and we've had a great... Banu and I have both had great fun on the show with you today, but unfortunately Banu had to leave me for a few minutes, but he is replaced by another lovely lady who's sitting next to me right now, and she's Mahika Pereira, who is the corporate communications manager for the Mount Lavinia Hotel, and yes, you are the group who have got down these 3 and to perform for your guests.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that you will co-host the show with me now. Will you, Mahika, please?
I will try to be Banu.
You will try to be Banu.
You're not as scared of rats, I don't think.
No.
No.
Yes. No. As long as you don't get up on the sofa, I mean, it's fine. But otherwise you can be like Banu. Rats and saris, I'm sure, don't go very well together. But tell us about the thought process behind bringing down the matinee act for Fawlty Towers.
Okay, Mount Lavinia Hotel, everybody knows, is a heritage property. It's a British colonial property. And Fawlty Towers is something Sri Lanka... everybody knows about Fawlty Towers, and Sri Lanka is actually craving for, still up to date, they show Fawlty Towers. So it was quite befitting for us to bring down the Fawlty Towers impersonators who actually were going to Edinburgh the time we were actually, when we caught them, they were on their way to Edinburgh doing for the Fringe Festival. So it worked out well as well, because people said, oh my god, you guys are bringing down Fawlty Towers. I said, yes, we're bringing down Fawlty Towers.
So when is this going to be happening?
It's from the 3rd to the 6th of October.
At the Mount Lavinia Hotel.
At the Mount Lavinia Hotel, at the Maitland State Room, which is our prestigious state room. And also, because of the demand, we're also having 2 matinee shows, which is on the 5th and the 6th, which starts at 12:30 in the afternoon. So those are all
something that everyone shouldn't miss out on, isn't it?
Absolutely, because this is the Fawlty Towers is something that everybody knows about, and I think it was sold out from the first 2 months itself. So,
but Paul, Karen, and Jeff, now I have to ask you, why do you think that this humour, this British humour, is so relevant even now, and people still connect with what you're doing on stage every single night?
Because the themes behind the television series don't change. Communication problems don't change.
Yeah, the characters too, like the relationship between
the
Basil and
wife.
Sybil. I think that exists in many relationships. They probably are quite similar to Basil and Sybil's.
And also it was set in a hotel which wasn't running very well, and that's universal. I mean, that's in every country. You know, wherever you go you can find hotels that aren't run particularly well, with annoying, fastidious hoteliers, and
I'm
it's
looking
universal.
forward to seeing the staff at the Mount Lavinia Hotel. I know, I've actually told one of the girls, can you have a camera on the staff, because they're going to be mortified at what we do, because they do everything right.
Teach them exactly how everything
be mortified at what we do.
He'll be showing them what not to do.
Yes.
So you've been Sri Lanka. You've been in Sri Lanka for a few days. Are you feeling the heat so far?
Very warm.
It is very warm. It was. Luckily, I'm Australian and I like the heat. I think I got a little bit of colour this morning around the pool. We've actually got. I think we've got. Tell me if I'm wrong. We do still have some tickets available for the matinee shows.
Yes, we've got the matinee shows tickets still available. So if anybody wants to come along, just give us a call.
Yes, come along.
Definitely a show that you shouldn't miss out on. But tell us about who runs the show when you're off stage and when you're
it's me.
Okay.
It's me.
Self-proclaimed.
Well, no. Sybil always, from the beginning of when the show was formed, was the one that couldn't coordinate the kitchen. So even though you've come to as if you're dining at Fawlty Towers, and people shouldn't be at all nervous, because the first thing you learn when you're performing in this sort of forum is that you look for your players, and the people that are a little bit insecure with it, and the ones that are a little bit overexcited, and you learn that very quick. So if you send out a vibe that is saying, hey, I'm a little bit nervous here, we're not going to be picking on you, for want of a better word. But backstage I make sure I coordinate the kitchen, and so you get a fabulous meal, but with, of course, very faulty service from us.
And Sybil's are naturally bossy.
I see.
So that helps as well.
Yes.
But you're Australian, and how do you convert that into a British character? Do you find it tough?
No, we virtually we got Fawlty Towers. I mean, Jeff and I are Australian, Paul's English, but we got the series about 2 weeks after it was released by the BBC. I always say we got the recycled version. It was only 2 weeks later, so we all grew up with it as well. So we know it very well. Getting the accent was another thing. Before I toured over to Edinburgh for the Edinburgh Fringe, I went and got voice coaching to make sure, because it's all regional. You know, in the UK, you know, a London accent is totally different from like an Essex accent, and up the north is totally different again, and so you've got to get the right one for the character.
But now you're portraying an iconic person who is John Cleese in that particular sitcom, Fawlty Towers, and what is it like for you to fit into his shoes?
It's a big responsibility. I just about fit into the shoes. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody wants, when they come to watch this show, they want to see John Cleese's Basil Fawlty. They don't want to see a take on Basil Fawlty. And I mean, as you saw earlier, there are a few actors in the company, and each of us strive to basically hit that character as close as we can. And it's the same with Manuel, it's the same with Sybil. You're basically trying to give the public what they already know. The show is different. The actual show that we do is not, you know, it's all original script, so it's not lifted directly from the TV show. But they want to see those characters,
isn't it? Of course, the essence is still the same, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the humour is the same, and what our job as actors is to get the mannerisms, the physicality, and the characterizations as close as we can.
But let's speak about your creative influences, Jeff. Now, who are the comedians that you look up to? Because being someone from Australia who is also supposed to be a Spaniard, who is now in a British hotel called Fawlty Towers.
Well, even Andrew Sachs, who played the original Manuel, he's probably underrated greatly. Like his comic timing and everything, his physical humour is really quite good. You can see John Cleese talking a lot about that, but I mean,
he was very English.
Anybody who can really improvise really well, like people like Robin Williams, they're pretty funny people. But look, it's like with Manuel, I thought that the main thing with getting into Manuel's character was like the posture, you know, obviously the dialect and just the attitude, that positive attitude and innocence.
But don't you find, Mahika, that nowadays most of the humour that we see in sitcoms is sort of deadpan and cynical, as opposed to what we see with them, which is slapstick?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that's what we are trying to portray. We don't. We want to go back to the past, you know, or to the thing that Sri Lanka or the world wants. So that's why we had something like this. This is the first in Sri Lanka. This is the debut performance for Sri Lanka. And an interactive dinner theatre like this is just wonderful.
And also you find that your audiences connect more with something slapstick as opposed to more deadpan, because you find that comedians stand in front of a microphone and they deliver lines, and they could be hilarious, but what you're doing is very different. It's very physical.
Sometimes it doesn't translate, does it, as well? Like some humour doesn't translate as well, whereas if it's physical, I think it appeals to everybody, or it's a larger...
Also, when you have big fans of the show, what they sometimes find funny is just the pure characterization. So actually you could be out there doing something that is not in itself particularly humorous, but you're doing it in character. And because of the TV show that they love, they're already laughing, you know. And it's just a small strata in the whole big, wide comedic world. But, you know, we're doing this little thing. If you like it, then great, come along, because you'll love it. Because you know, we hope to hit what you've loved from the TV show.
But sadly, we've almost come to the end of this particular segment. But before we go off, I just need to ask you to maybe deliver some of your favorite lines from the performance, or a little phrase that you can leave the viewers with.
You can't do that. You've got to pay your money.
Don't say that.
You've got to pay your money and come to the show.
Well, I mean, people, when it comes to Sybil, they want to hear, you know, oh, I know, and that's what they want to hear.
And they always like, he's no rat, he's hamster, Mr. Fawlty. I mean, that's always fun too, that one.
legendary lines delivered by people who are impersonating the legends
Yes.
and
Yeah.
doing a very, very good job of it. Thank
Oh,
you so much,
natural.
Paul, Karen and Jeff, for being on the show, as well as Mahika.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us and
Thank you.
sharing all your great comedy here on the show, because it's been
Thank
great
you.
entertainment, I'm sure, for all the viewers as well. And right after the break, don't go anywhere, because we will be speaking to members from the Indian Indo cricket team. And today is going to be the inaugural day of the Indo Cricket League, which is happening in Sri Lanka at the moment at the Australasia Club, and it's going to be telecast live on MTV Sports, so it's something you don't want to miss out on. But do stay here with us on MTV Sports, and we'll be right back with another great segment.